What is up, guys? My name is Lucas Smith and Jaden, and we're here. We're joined with
Kristian Banlaoi.
Welcome to the come on together. The
Flip up
podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Flip Up Podcast. Today, we are joined with another guest. Today, we are joined with Kristian Banlaoi, special friend of Jaden and I, known for marching. George Mason with us. And guys, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, guys, we are back with another podcast episode. This time, not one that's 1 month in the past. This one's released, I don't know yet, next week or 2 weeks from now. This is recorded. So we're getting back on schedule, guys. We talked about it in an update video. Both Lucas and I decided to do our age outs, which is kind of crazy. We talked about that just a little bit. So if you guys haven't seen that video, go check that out. It is probably the most recent video after this one. Oh, no, it's after the most recent podcast episode. So after that one, go check that video out. It explains why Lucas decided to march and why I didn't go back to Mason, which, my God, I did not think Lucas was going to march this year, if I'm being honest.
Me neither.
Same.
All right, well, without further ado, we didn't even tell Kristian anything. So usually when we start these episodes off, we usually have this giant 20-page document that explains what's on the podcast and how to prepare for it. And it tells him exactly everything he needs to do. But we didn't send him it, so he's going off of a whim right now. So he knows exactly nothing other than the topics, thankfully.
Little did you know every single episode is scripted.
It's all good. I've been told that I'm a fast, I can pick up on things fast. Speaking of which.
Okay, we're not even going to start there. I'm joking, by the way. The document's actually only a page. So if you want to be on the podcast, we haven't talked about this in a while, but go check out our Patreon. We're very bad at staying consistent on it, but your guys' support helps fund things. We want to start releasing merchandise. We want to start hiring people to work for us, which actually makes a great point. I forgot to make this announcement. So we are excited to announce we actually have a new member of our team, Nate Wallerman, who actually was on a prior episode. He marched Spirit of Atlanta. If you want to go see that episode, I wish we wrote it down. I feel stupid right now.
Go search for it. Go find it. It's a funny one.
Yeah, really good episode. He's focused on music technology, so he reached out and was like, "Hey, I can edit these podcast episodes." And although I was a music creative technologies major, but in music, it really does take a lot of time editing these podcast episodes. So his work definitely saves us a lot of time, or at least me a lot of time, so we can start focusing on other things. So thank you so much, Nate. Huge shout out to him. And yeah, there'll be more from him in the future. But yeah, on to this episode now. Kristian, if you'd like to do a formal introduction. We didn't talk about this before, but go ahead and introduce yourself from the day you were first born till the day you died.
Yeah, so my name is Kristian Banlaoi. August 21st, 2000, born in. I'm originally from Illinois, and I marched cymbals 2 years at my high school in Victor J. Andrew, and 2 years at GMU, where I marched with these fine gentlemen for those 2 seasons in 2019 and 2020. So pretty short resume in terms of cymbal playing, but very, very extensive in the experience that I had. So
despite that short resume, seeing firsthand when you came and joined us in 2019, you were very good at picking up on things extremely fast. Would you care to expand on that and how you're able to do that?
Yeah. Going into the audition of the GMU my first GMU audition in like 2019, it was Jaden who taught me that night before the audition, like what even a contact juggle was. Like I had no idea how to do a lot of these visuals, and I only knew like the basics, like bucket, release, reload. I sort of knew how to do a flip up and like a Sones flip and all that stuff, but like, yeah, like I definitely didn't get into the extensive part of cymbals until I got to GMU. And I guess like being around them, around like Lucas and Jaden, who had so much like knowledge about cymbal playing since they started marching way earlier than me. I just was able to like observe them, see how their like body moves and all that stuff, and just try to like replicate that in my body. Definitely like looking at a mirror helps. And then also like understanding what your hand, what your wrist, what your forearm, elbow, just everything about your body, what's moving during the visual and stuff in terms of even just like flipping up is super important. And just like, you just have to think about that. I feel like that's what I personally do, especially like learning new juggles and stuff, like seeing, like really focusing even before attempting it, like how many rotations it does and like seeing where like your hand placement is, just like getting those things right first and then attempting it instead of just like learning or like doing it and like half, like doing it 50% instead of like trying to do it correctly the first time.
Yeah, that's huge. It's kind of like work smarter versus work harder. The whole idea of going into it with more awareness of what you're doing, because I feel like a lot of people, when they just start, they're like, I'm not getting it right. I'm not getting it right. Keep doing it. But if you have that awareness, you break it down to the individual level and you're thinking, okay, my hand needs to do this. I need to actually do this. Because then like you actually realize, oh, this is how they're getting it. If I just do that, then I'll get it. It's that like expanded awareness and thinking deeply about what you're doing.
Yeah. I can say like also maybe my mindset is different. I know in 2019, I really didn't focus on visual aspects as much as I focus on like just being able to flip up as like fast as like the rest of the line and like flipping up. So like that year I spent so much time just like doing the flip blocks, making sure those were right, like not having to worry about that. So I think like starting there at like the base and then going to like visuals and then like trying to improve on those later. Like I feel there's definitely people who, when they pick up cymbals, just really want to like learn how to do all the juggles because those are super cool and stuff. And like I totally understand that and I totally get that. Like I can't do most of the juggles that like other people can do, but at the same time, those same people might not be able to flip up as well as other people. So it's like, I feel my mindset of like working on the basics instead of going to the more advanced stuff definitely helps in picking stuff up faster.
Definitely. So talking about something completely different, but going off of the same idea, I will humbly say this. Without a doubt, I tell people this all the time. If there's the number one person I know who just picks up on things super fast, it is Kristian. And I'll tell this story. So this one time, it was Mason 2020, and Kristian was kind of coming in and out because he was focused on nursing, which we'll talk about that later in the podcast. But Kristian was out for like a whole month because he had scouts auditions while also nursing going on. And Kristian comes in, it was like a Friday night block, and he needed to get the third movement on the floor, right? Just the drill.
It was one of the movements that he just didn't know the drill of.
Yeah, it was a whole movement. And so we had a whole block. But before even the Vish Tech came out, Kristian already learned all the drill in like 20 minutes. He didn't even work on it before rehearsal. Just in those 20 minutes, just hash it out immediately. And I felt like he knew the drill already better than I knew it. And I already knew it like a whole week in advance. So I was just like, this man's crazy when it comes to picking up on things fast. I do not know how you do it. I mean, obviously there's keys to it, but you do it so goddamn well.
It was definitely like, for me, a sense of urgency. Like, you guys already knew it, the drill, because you went to, like, I wasn't able to attend the GMU winter camp. So I was definitely behind it. I knew that. So I needed to make sure, like, I was on top of my stuff before, like, rehearsal really started and all that. And I'm pretty sure, like, our texts were like, yeah, Kristian, you better have this and you better know this before, like, we get there. So I was like, no. So, yeah, definitely a sense of urgency helps, like, picking stuff up quickly. And also just, like, I feel like a lot of people just go through the motions of, like, in anything. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, cymbal playing or, like, marching. If, like, you just have to be, like, kind of have an uber focused on, like, what you're doing in that moment to, like, be able to, like, maturely pick up stuff and, like, retain it, I guess. So it's like, during those 20 minutes, I was only thinking about getting my dots right and, like, nothing else. Like, nothing else in the world mattered more than just, like, knowing these dots. So, yeah, definitely, like, the mindset, like, focusing and all that stuff, like, they all work together just to, like, be able to pick stuff up quickly, I'd say.
Gotta have that focus. All you people listen out there, that focus. Be like Kristian. I definitely see how a lot of people could come in with the same situation and they'll show up and be like, oh, well, I was gone. You need to understand I was gone. That's why I don't know this drill. But you came in and you're like, no, I'm not holding the group back. Let's go. And then you made us look bad.
Sorry about that. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely don't want to make excuses all the time, especially, like, in that season, because I had a lot of outdoors or, like, extracurricular stuff going on. So, like, I knew that those were not going to be valid excuses of being like, oh, I can't do it, or, like, give me more, like, time, because we only have, like, a limited amount of time anyway. So, yeah, I definitely knew, like, I needed to get in there, get the work done, and then just, like, be a sponge and, like, absorb everything that I need to learn during that time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I guess going off of that, you've had even more difficulty marching being a nursing major, because that has been a huge time commitment for you. There's been a lot of stuff going on with trying to balance that. Is there any tips and tricks or any difficulties you faced with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, not only, so right now I go to UVA, or, like, University of Virginia, as a nursing major, and I'm also a part of the marching band at UVA as well. So that's a lot of the reason why I couldn't go to a lot of the rehearsals during the fall semester of the 2020 season, just because a lot of the football games happen on Saturdays, and, like, I just couldn't make the Friday, Saturday parts of the rehearsal, and then, like, only show up for Sunday rehearsals if, like, the games weren't that long and all that stuff. So I'd say, like, that, being in the marching band, being in nursing, and, like, having those long clinical days, which are, like, a bunch of hours spent in the hospital, at shadowing or working with a nurse on a specific patient and all that stuff. I'd say,
Kristian, hold on a sec. Your audio's, like, going weird.
I think that's like a plane.
The plane just turned your voice so tunnel vision.
Like you're underwater.
Hold on, guys.
Is it better now or no? Good. Well, what did I leave off on that like you could audibly hear?
Talking about the clinicals.
Oh, okay. So like balancing the clinicals and like marching band, I think just like, yeah, sometimes it just gets too much, but like, especially now in my fourth year, there's just like a lot of stuff going on in terms of like the School of Nursing, like all my classes, especially since I'm taking like other extracurricular like things or like electives, I guess, for the nursing course. So I'm super busy with that. I'd say the best thing to do if you're like balancing things out is like really understand like how much I'm going to say like an analogy, like how much bandwidth you're using in terms of like your work. Because I personally like to think that I'm like a jack of all trades doing a bunch of different stuff, but I also am aware that you can't always be a jack of all trades, especially if you can't do what you want to do at like a high level. That's how I think. And that's like a reason why I'm not planning on marching the winter season this season. So I'm not planning on marching this winter because I know I wouldn't be able to give 100% effort in either winter percussion or my academic career. And in terms of priority, I have prioritized my academic career above winter percussion at this stage of my life. So very upsetting, but like I think for my mental status, I think it was the best decision. And my best advice for people is like, there are people who can do it. I am not the like be all end all of like whether or not someone should or shouldn't like march for like any specific reason. But for me personally, it wasn't the best option for me. But I think if you wanted to march and you think you can do it, go for it. I just know that it realistically wasn't possible for me. Just in terms of like what I wanted to do for like the remaining part of the season and the semester in my school years.
Yeah, low key, I'm kind of glad there's an age out in this activity. Like, I think there shouldn't be an age out because why put a limit on how much someone can do what they love? But I also feel like unless this activity starts paying their members to start marching, it's a great way to start telling people, hey, go and focus on your other dreams. Because I started noticing, I'm getting to a point now where I started noticing over COVID, like it's the same thing that Lucas and I were feeling. It's like the activity moves away and now you start moving on to other passions and hobbies. And I think for me, just knowing I get one more year is enough motivation to say, hey, I want to do this and I want to march with my friends and I want to make one last memory. But I also feel like if the years kept going on after this, I feel like I won't be able to really, really set myself up for a future I really want to do. Like right now, I do stuff with music and, Lucas and I working remotely, like we have our own jobs, but those weekends really do take up a lot of time. And it really is true that you do want to, and this is what I do, everyone's different, but I definitely believe that when you're done working 9 to 5 or however long you work. Some cases, people just can work whenever. I really do believe that once you're done working, you can work on your side hustles. But I also feel like if you have your weekends, you can also work on your passions then. And I do feel like not having my weekends really pulls me away from working on my passions. But I also do realize that cymbals is my passion. But because we're doing flip up and because we're not getting paid to do it, it's one of those things where it can only take you so far before it actually starts taking you away from other goals. And that's the same thing with school. Like, I think it's a great way to go forth your passion and goals while you're in school, or if you don't go to school while you're doing something else, figuring out something with life. But now that we're in the situation where Lucas and I, you'll never have your life figured out. That's life advice in general. Your life will never be figured out. I'm still figuring out stuff. But yes, you can think of it as like a fake it till you make it. But I really do think that this activity is really, really meant for the passion in the moment. And if those years were to go on, I really think people wouldn't be able to grow in other ways.
Yeah, to be honest, the time frame where most people march, like all throughout college, and then you age out once you're done with college, that's like the worst time to lose your weekends because you've got school, and if you need to pay for school, you're working, and it just like makes you so stressed and busy. But then the moment once, like at least for me, once I graduated, I started working, it was like, oh, I mean, everything's the same from now until I die. I might as well throw drumline in there. This is like the optimal time to do it, make things interesting. School, back then, times were hectic enough. And then drumline was thrown in and it was just insane. And in Kristian's case, like this is a huge year for him. He's about to graduate. He's about to become a nurse. Things are already crazy. He's got the clinicals. And then just imagine throwing band in there. It's so much. And then once everything clears up, you age out.
Yeah. It was a lot for the 2 years that I did March GME, but it definitely was worth it. The memories and like the people that I got to meet, like they made up for the hecticness of the situation. But like I always enjoyed my time there for the most part.
Yeah, there are lessons that you definitely learn. Especially, I feel like definitely through drum corps, I feel like I learned the most. Those are the kind of lessons that you want to get in early in life. But at the same time, it's just so much. Band is so much, man.
Yeah, guys, honestly, I'm giving it my all not because it's my age out, but I know once the season ends, I'm going to feel so relieved because there definitely is. This activity takes a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of when I refer to energy, I mean both physical and mental energy. It drains you. This activity is a lot. But the reason why, we're doing this activity other than, because of the people, but, we have a passion for what we do at the end of the day. And, if you can manage multiple passions while doing this activity, you 100% are gifted. Let alone like passion symbols, you're gifted. But like, if you're able to balance this activity while also achieving your other goals, like that is truly a gift. It really is.
That's why when you were talking about how you're glad that there's an age out, I agree with you there because I feel like if there wasn't an age out, a lot of people who would be marching wouldn't have like that much of a passion for marching. And that's not even like in terms of symbols, in terms of like just like marching in general. Like, yeah, they're good skill wise, but do they have like the drive like younger people have, like just starting out, wanting to grow to be as good as them? Like all the vets there. And it's nice that like after a few years, like it kind of shifts on who's like the face of each section. Like for I'd say like cymbal playing, it was Brian for like a good bit. That's like what I knew growing up in high school. And then I'd say like people marching in X and people marching in GMU were like the face for a good bit after Brian. And then like now, maybe in 4 years, it's definitely going to be someone else. So it's like all the young people coming in just have like so much passion coming in, and like with that, it's a double-edged sword. You just get burnt out really fast in this like experience or extracurricular like activity, and that's like nothing wrong with that. It's just it has a short like lifespan, but it's still rewarding nonetheless.
Definitely. And this will be the last thing. I'll leave it off because we got in this podcast episode. But the last thing I will say is going off of what Kristian said about being burnt out later and not having the drive when compared to people starting off. When I started off, my drive, I'm sure all of us, our drive was top level. I want to be this. I want to achieve this. And now that we've achieved it, it's like that drive of I want to be this has then turned into I want to lead this. I want this to be the legacy of where cymbal playing is going, And I think when you're being pushed to be someone or like imitate where like the peak is, it's very motivating. But then once you're the one pushing the activity, that's when it starts to burn you out, because yes, you still have the love and passion, but there's a lot more, not just growth in your life because, you're working and you got other things you learn along the way of life. And you're like, oh, I actually like this also. And trying to find a way to balance this activity. Like, yes, you don't have to work your butt off to clean your flips anymore, which you still need to work on your flips no matter what skill level you're at. But there also comes a point you being able to come up with the next newest, coolest juggle really does take a lot of energy. I think it's a lot harder to come up with a visual now that's new versus trying to stay clean in a flip block, honestly, at this point.
And I think it's dependent on like where everyone is in their like playing career. I'd say like when you first start, definitely like it's more exhausting physically, but like once you get to like near the end of it, like you're almost aging out, it's definitely going to be more exhausting mentally. So,
wow, this was a depressing episode. I don't even know.
I'm sorry.
It's the truth. This comes out.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, I still had great times, great memories of cymbal playing, but like, it's not always like greener on the other side, but it is green. It is green, I will say.
Yeah. There really is a lot on our end of not just us, but like, like we want this activity to succeed. And if one of us aren't in it, I think we feel guilty. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but if I'm not in it, not just myself, but I also feel guilty that I'm laying this activity down, because if I'm not there, how is it going to keep going up per se,
Gotta have the great text to teach the next generation. It's like different eras. Like Kristian was talking about, there was like Brian, and then there was the people after, and then it's all the different eras. And you've got to be the great tech to lead the person coming next. Exactly. Or the member they stand next to that they look up to.
Exactly. Because like the way I see it is like you're on the line, like especially if you've been doing this activity for a while, like you want people to like, this is how I was. I was extremely humbled to be next to an Uber vet at Scouts and even at Colts, like, because being next to them really is motivating you and pushes you to the next level. And also, if you're not marching and you're not getting that experience, you feel like, oh, I'm not qualified when, I don't know.
Just go out there, do your time. And when you're done, leave it all behind, have no regrets.
Yeah.
And if you can, teach the next generation.
no regrets is a real big thing, a good takeaway for that.
Yeah. As long as if you can get just one season in there, you'll have no regrets because one season is all the memories you need.
Yeah.
You can
I
get
100% agree with that. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the episode. We, this was a really good episode because this was I think this is the deepest we've ever gotten on this episode. Like, this is probably one of the realest things because I'm sure Lucas feels drained right now. Because I know for me, it's mentally draining just because I'm not mentally drained by cymbal playing. Let me make this clear. It's not the cymbal playing that's draining me. It's the fact that I'm working 24/7. There's like no mental breaks because I have an issue. Like when I'm off of work, I work on side hobbies. But the issue with that is there's no time for breaks. So that's something I got to start learning. But, also traveling back and forth to X, which I'm moving out there. But right now, all the traveling is just so exhausting. It really is. It's not it's for me right now. It's not so much the activity, which it might turn into the cymbal playing, but right now it's 100% just all the traveling and just staying busy.
It's all the little things in between, like your actual hobbies that you have to do. Like I know for you, Jaden, like you had to travel 4 hours every single weekend there and back for practice. So like, I mean, that's 8 hours of your like weekend or like your week just gone for traveling. And like that can stress people out. So
I don't know if I would have done it my senior year, but honestly, just knowing I'm with you guys, it's motivating enough. It really is. But I definitely think I'd be mentally drained. End of the season, 2020, it got to the point we needed new visuals. I was so drained. I could not think of anything else. It's like one of those things you go from season to season to season to season. And it's like, what can you come up with without a break? You can't just sit on ideas. Ideas are constantly pumped out.
Dude, towards the end of that season, we were both talking to each other. We're like, all right, so we're going to take next year off. And then we are already discussing how we're going to take the year after off. And then COVID happened. And now here we are, 2022.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, I already said it, but yeah, guys, we're going to end this podcast episode. Thank you so much, Kristian, for being on this episode. One of the most relaxed episodes. Kristian's a great friend of ours. Well, we marched with Kristian, so I don't know what I'm saying, but Kristian, if there's one thing you can say to the cymbal community, what would it be?
Work on the basics and have fun.
Let's go.
Always have fun.
Keeping with the trend. We've had too many podcast episodes. I don't even know if that's been said now.
Couldn't have been said better than that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
No.
I'll let you end it.
No, Kristian. No.
Oh, okay. What?
Just kidding, guys. I don't know when we're going to end this.
I thought you were going to do the outro.
I thought that was the outro. Bye, guys. See ya.
Okay, bye.